You've heard of the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? It's from the UFO Encounters classification system, where the film you're probably thinking of got its name. But why did the scientist who invented that scale go from a lead UFO debunker to the biggest believer? Let's take an honest look at the system and its creator, Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Born in Chicago in 1910, Joseph Allen Hynek was an astronomer and an astrophysicist and taught at Ohio State University. During the Second World War, his work on aerial technologies provided a security clearance that made him the perfect candidate to consult on the US Air Force's first official UFO investigation in 1948, Project Sign. He was typically skeptical, finding rational explanations for 80% of the reports on his desk, and felt the latter 20% would be explained at a later date. When Project Sign ended, he went back to his day job and put the UFOs aside. In 1952, Hynek was pulled back into the US government's renewed investigation into UFOs, now called Project Blue Book, and was unsettled. Those unexplained cases from a few years ago were still unexplained. The CIA set up a panel of scientific experts in 1953, known as the Robertson Panel. Hynek was amongst them. After just 4 days of looking into UFO reports, they dismissed them all entirely, but this prompted Hynek's now famous remark. He argued that science has a responsibility to the public to take the reports seriously, not to mock them or dismiss them. I mean, he's not wrong, but there are limits which we'll arrive at in a moment. If you're finding Hynek's journey from skeptic to believer fascinating, subscribe. We get into hauntingly honest history every week. As his work with Project Blue Book progressed in the 1960s, he remained mostly private about his disenchantment with the conclusions being drawn by his cohorts. But by the end of the decade, his open disagreement with the Air Force and more dismissive attitudes was fully aired in public. 1966 was the breaking point. After a mass sighting in Michigan, Hynek, still under government contract, publicly blamed marsh gas. The Air Force hated it, and the public felt it was a cover-up. Hynek could not win. Project Blue Book was closed in 1969 by the government, with the conclusion of there being nothing to see here. This freed up a dissatisfied Hynek, who then went on to found the Center for UFO Studies in 1973, taking sightings seriously. Hynek spoke at conferences, wrote books, appeared on TV, all to support his work, though as time went on, astronomers, scientists became less supportive of his endeavours. If he was doubling down against the pressure when embracing concepts such as alien psychic communications and extraplanar theories, or if he truly believed in them, it seems he felt the others should provide the proof for his claims. And that's just not how this works. After all, one of his greatest critics was known for his adoption of this maxim, and the one that I really tried to stick to on this channel. Anyway, despite this more controversial aspect of his research, one thing we really owe Hynek for is the encounter classification system. So let's briefly look at that. The system was first published in Hynek's 1972 book, The UFO Experience, A Scientific Inquiry. In order, we have... This is quite simply when a witness sees a light or lights in the sky and doesn't recognise them. Sometimes the report will almost immediately nullify itself when it's established the light was a standard aircraft, star, even a planet, and so on. In my own rather embarrassing 2-second experience, it was sky lanterns released in succession at someone's wedding party. It was an awesome 2 seconds though. Simply put, when the lights cannot be categorised, you have yourself a UFO, or UAP as it's called today. These basically do what it says on the tin. Traditional disc-shaped objects seen in daylight. I'd say the average layperson should be aware of meteorological conditions such as lenticular clouds, but the point stands. This next category refers to reports that have been corroborated by radar and cannot be attributed to atmospheric interference. Some of Hynek's unknowns from the Project Blue Book fell into this category. We're now on to the good stuff. Close Encounters of the First Kind, or CE1, refers to closer visual sightings of a UFO. Hynek says it needs to be, in general, less than 500 feet away from the witness. Details should be describable, such as a comparable shape. For example, in the Pascagoula abduction incident, the first part of the encounter has the men describing the UFO as football-shaped. Also known as CE2, for this status to be in play, there needs to be some kind of physical evidence of UFO activity, for example scorched earth or marks where the craft was witnessed. Other disturbances such as dead radio, non-starting vehicles or equipment, even distressed animals can point to this. Any paralysis or physical signs upon a witness are also in this category. CE3 is where cases involving actual alien sightings and potentially first contact would be placed. The alien beings, creatures, or even robots have to be present. This can just be seeing an alien in your backyard or along the road. This is also where some of the more devastating hoax consequences can occur. There have been a couple of additions to the scale, added after Hynek's death in 1986. Briefly, the fourth requires the witness to be abducted and experience an alteration of their reality. An argument has been made for it to include non-abductions where the witness has experienced something like a dreamlike altered state. This classification initially referred to abducted witnesses displaying physical evidence of their encounter. However, the fifth kind has also been proposed as the category where the humans make contact first. These encounters are where you'll find contactees, people who claim regular contact with an alien consciousness, and it's about as scientific as a unicorn. There are further classifications, but actually they're as scientific as the aforementioned unicorn going on a date with a manticore. I just can't with this stuff. It makes it really hard to take the subject seriously. And despite where I might disagree with some of Hynek's conclusions or methods, his instinct to have science take UFOs seriously was the right call. And this is not the way. Ultimately, Hynek's legacy is a complicated one. He wanted science to take the unknown seriously, even if he eventually followed the mystery down some rather questionable rabbit holes. But I want to hear from you. Where do you draw the line? Is the classification system still a useful tool, or does it just give a scientific coat of paint to the impossible? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this look at the man behind the Close Encounters, hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Next time, we're coming back down to Earth. Mostly. We're heading to Long Beach to step aboard the Grey Ghost herself. Make sure you've rung the bell so you're ready for our investigation into the haunts of the RMS Queen Mary. Bye for now.